What's happening, wargamers? Today we're going to talk about how to base a terrain table project that you've started to work on and you want to base around snow effects. A lot of times gamers start with a snow-based table because it's a little bit easier to make. When you're starting off, you think about jungles, you think about deserts, all the different varied ways that you can make a gaming table. Today, we're only looking at a snow table. To me, it's the easiest because the materials that you need in order to make it are very affordable and you can work with them very easily. What I've done is based off just baking soda, some white acrylic paint, and some regular PVA glue. A paintbrush on top of a board that you've already based with sand is a great way to get a look that has melted snow that's left over. You can always put on more powder on top of it, but the important part is that what we're doing is a base that you can expand upon. You can grow into a bunch of different directions, whether you want to go towards a fall scene or whatever. The idea for this particular table is that what we've done is a nuclear fallout. The table is based in a gray, a dark gray, where after orbital bombardment you've got ashes that have been falling all over the place, and then the nuclear winter set in. All the snow is fallen, but maybe the planet's coming back around. You got to come up with your own story. That's one of the best things about being into this hobby, is you can come up with so many different wonderful ideas to do more and more with your project. This is going to be just an overview of exactly how I achieved this look. I'll show you the materials that I use, like I just talked about, baking soda. We'll go from there. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the materials that I used to create the snow effect. Remember, we're doing this as a dry brushed look, so what we're looking for is a consistency that is going to be toothpastey, something jelly, mushy, kind of gross feel and look to it. What I start off with is one of the cheapest things that you can buy that's the most effective, and it's regular baking soda. I got a big box because I don't know how much I'm going to use of it, and it's dirt cheap. Whether it's a small box or a big box, it's just pennies difference. Pennies. So this is a huge investment in terms of a snow look on a battlefield. I think it helps tremendously and you guys can get a lot of use out of it. The problem with baking soda is that it tends to yellow over time. Because it yellows, it's a simple fix. All you need to do is mix it with some white acrylic paint. I got this stuff a long time ago to actually use it on my models. Didn't work out that well. I was a young modeler and wargamer back then, and it really just wasn't the best way to use it. Now I use it to keep the snow a white color. This also helps melt it down and mix it so that it gives you that toothpaste consistency. The other aspect of that, regular PVA glue, white glue, stuff that you would use in a crafts class. This you can pick up anywhere. I recommend getting the bigger jugs because really you're going to be using a lot of it. You're going to be mixing all that stuff together, and whether you use the small can or not, you're going to be buying a lot of them over time. So what I recommend is these big jugs. Really helps get you the long-lasting stability of what you're going to be able to use this for over the long run. Next, I use a 2-inch brush. This is a regular painter's brush, something that you can pick up just about anywhere. I don't remember paying that much for it at all, but it's lasted me a long time. I've painted walls with this, and I've even done this entire gaming table with it, and the brush is still in great shape. Always, always take good care of your brushes. They will treat you well if you treat them well. Another thing that guys tend to like is spray bottles. These are really good for flock. If you want to apply a glue base onto a wide surface, what you do, pour a little bit of glue in there, a little bit of water, mix it up, and then just spray it all over the place. Then you can sprinkle the more powdery stuff, whether it's static grass or your own mixture of sand. This works really well for applying it to large areas in a quick amount of time. The next thing that we talk about is a mixing can. Old coffee can, whatever you can find, really plastic buckets, anything that does well for it. I use this to mix it and then carry it around with me so it's nice and easy to paint as you go. The next things that we'll look at are exactly how to mix this stuff and what sort of consistency you're going to want to achieve after you've done so. So now we're going to take a look at exactly how to mix this stuff together and the consistency that you're looking for. What I've done is I've poured just a little bit of the PVA glue down into the coffee can. This is a really good way to start because it lets you base the rest of your materials that go into it. The next thing I'm going to pour in is my baking soda. This basically is just eyeballing it. You want to dump in a good amount, and this is why I said get a good box of this stuff, because really the only way to tell exactly how much you've got is on the consistency. So the next thing I do is grab my brush and just start mixing it. And really, you're going to start to see right away how it thickens up. The baking soda is a huge factor in that. And so when you see it on the end of that brush there, it looks like snow. It clumps up, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Don't forget though to put in just a little bit of white acrylic paint. This helps mix it together in a way that gives you the non-yellowy effect. Big glob goes in there, good enough. Enough to mix in with everything else. Get it mixed together, nice and thick. You're gonna see it almost like a melted marshmallow, toothpastey kind of look to it. Really messy, but that's exactly what we want. Make sure you can see that it's clumped together nice and well. If you feel like it's a little bit too wet, put in more baking soda. Just eyeball it. There is no perfect ratio. There's no magic numbers. You guys are the artists here. You're the creators. Make it look as good as you want it to look, but try to get to that consistency. So now we're going to look at how to apply it. What I do is just dry brush very, very lightly. You only want the paint on the tip of the brush so that you're only hitting these raised areas. It's going to melt away right off of the brush, and that's what you're looking for. It's okay if it clumps up. In fact, that's the look that we want here. This is, again, the snow that's underneath the powdery stuff. So very, very lightly, barely even putting pressure on the surface. Think of Bob Ross. Think about light, happy little fluffy clouds that you're just putting into place. Stick to the raised areas. What's nice about this is it gives you the ability to work with what you've already done. Let the table do the work for you. All you're doing is guiding where the brush goes from there. Stay away from recessed areas. There's really no right or wrong way to do it, but for what this look is, it's only on the places where the snow would still be left. After the base of the snow is down the way you like it on these raised areas, it's okay to drag your brush just lightly across these darkened areas, because there's still going to be some snow here, just not piled up in the ways that we have it in the other areas. If you really want to take it to the next level, make sure you go all the way to the edge. The world doesn't end where the board edge does. Keep going past all these places and let the snow hit the places that are here too. Don't forget about them. They're still really important to keep those areas involved. So here we're looking at the table once you've done this basic step. Remember that this just isn't the entire finished product, but it gives you a lot of room to work with. All these areas are hit. Now everything, especially from a bird's eye view, is going to look just how it would in a real snowscape. If you live in a snowy area, try to remember that that's what you're going for. Let the table work for you, let the brush work for you, and the mixture of paint and glue do the rest. You can go far and your models will thank you. So that's it, guys. We looked at exactly how to base the foundation for a snow table. It's a really easy start that just about anybody can do, and if you follow some really simple techniques, you can go far with it. Remember, build up in layers, look at the high raised areas that the table just gave you on its own, and you'll go far with it. Have fun, make some great stuff, and come back next time when we look at more steps to go beyond just this base layer. Thanks, guys.